I'm gonna make this quick and I'm gonna save you a lot of time. If you're in any kind of law enforcement, security, protection, or a first responder, or you wanna be, the best martial arts are gonna be number one, Judo, or maybe Sambo, depending on where you are in the world. And number two is gonna be ground fighting like wrestling or preferably BJJ. And number three, boxing. I also have a bonus martial art that we will talk about at the end of this list. So if you're wondering why Judo at number one, this is why. If you're in any kind of law enforcement or corrections or first responder, your job is not to fight people. Your job is not to go toe to toe and let people try to hit you, right? Your job is to gain control of a person who is a danger to himself or others and maintain control of that person while causing the least amount of damage. Because once you gain control of that person, you are responsible for their health and safety, right? So you need to be able to take someone who is resisting you or attacking someone else and put them in a position where you can control them and restrain them. So Judo is number one because it's easy to grasp the fundamentals of taking someone off balance onto the ground, preferably. It's not super hard to become proficient enough with using basic Judo against untrained people. It really doesn't take a lot of time to pick up what you need for a law enforcement position. Assuming you are fit and healthy and you train at least a little bit on toughness and stamina. All right, so number two, ground fighting like wrestling or preferably BJJ. This is important because if you find yourself alone on the ground against a bigger, stronger person, you have to understand how to manipulate leverage in your favor so that you don't gas out before they do, or you can at least maintain control until your backup arrives. This is number two because it takes more time and more commitment to become proficient in basic techniques than Judo. So like half the time you put someone on the ground, they sort of feel defeated. They may resist restraints a little bit, but eventually they'll succumb to them. And then the other half of the time they'll start kicking and scratching and biting, or even worse, they'll take your weapon, or they'll try, or they'll introduce a weapon. But if you know, you know. Little bonus tip, always remember when you take someone to the ground, never give them space. Never give them space to start kicking and keep control of those hands all the way down, to the ground. Okay, so that brings us to number three, boxing. If you've seen my other videos, you know that boxing is my thing. It was my first combat sport and it is what my foundation for everything else is based on. So why is boxing not number one? Because it takes some more time to build these fundamentals into your reflexes. But those fundamentals, like a strong base, head protection, and not being scared of an attack, and being able to have forward momentum through an attack, can make you highly proficient and comfortable in any violent situation where force is used. You become very comfortable in chaos and you don't panic when punches are flying at you. I always tell people, once you're not scared of being punched in the face, everything else in life is so easy. So like I said, it's number three because it takes a lot of time and commitment before those fundamentals become like second nature to you. And I know most people want the biggest return on their time investment, especially when it comes to martial arts, making you better at your job in law enforcement. That's why I'm going over this list. Okay, so I promised a bonus martial art, and I wish I could say Wing Chun for its hand trapping techniques, but I'm gonna say Muay Thai for its clinching techniques, which also uses quite a bit of hand trapping. And let me be clear, the reason I think this should be an extra little practice is because hand and arm manipulation can be very important in a lot of armed and unarmed stand-up situations. I promise, working on clinch and hand trapping can be very useful when dealing with grabs, breaking grips, keeping grips, weapons, and weapon retention. Practicing a little bit of Muay Thai clinch work will help your framing and coordination and using your elbows, arms, and forearms to control someone's hands and torso, even if just for a second before you transition into some Judo or BJJ. Over the years, I've heard a lot of people say that Muay Thai is the best all-around combat sport for law enforcement. I would like to argue that it may be one of the best all-around combat sports for like self-defense, but violent force encounters are not combat sports. Like I said earlier, you're not trying to fight people. So also, the reason Muay Thai is not number 3 instead of boxing is because in a violent force encounter, boxing fundamentals will give you a better return on investment. If you're not trying to fight people, then why waste time learning elbows, knees, and kicks, you know? But listen, studying any martial art is better than nothing. And you can get a little bit of everything on this list from almost any martial art or combat sports. So you could just train a little MMA, or you could just train BJJ, or you could just train boxing. And if you happen to love Muay Thai or karate or Krav Maga, whatever martial art that was not on this list, you should keep training that. Most martial arts will keep you flexible, balanced on your feet, and comfortable in chaotic situations. But if you're wanting to train specifically to be better at your job in law enforcement, security, or as a first responder, train a little bit of Judo, get the basics down, train some BJJ, train some boxing, and make this a part of your life. Don't think you can not train and still be able to handle a situation. If you have any questions or want me to cover any other topics, let me know. If you're wanting to start boxing, I will link 2 videos for you in the description.